TCS TV viewers, it's Dave and Evelyn from the camera store, and today we're going to be looking at two full-frame, mid-level mirrorless cameras.
We're talking about the Canon EOS R6 and the Oliva A7 IV. Both these cameras currently are the exact same price up here in Canada, but they are hotly contested because they have a lot of similarities, but there are some big differences that might sway you one way or the other.
Yeah, and so today we're going to talk about things like image quality, resolution, handling, overall performance, and just the enjoyability of using these cameras for video and photo content creation. And so let's get into it. Whenever we do these shootouts, Dave and I always have to have the conversation of which one do you want to shoot with? I don't know, which one do you want to shoot with? And I was initially leaning towards grabbing the Canon EOS R6 because I'm so comfortable with it. I've been shooting a lot of my own photography with that system, but the A7 IV is just so compelling too, and I liked the idea of maybe getting a little bit of that resolution bump.
Yeah, no, I've always liked the fit and finish and the handling of Canon cameras, but it's nice to see how Sony is improving. They're evolving as a camera company, and the ergonomics are getting better than they've ever been.
Yeah, it feels pretty good in the hand. It has good weather sealing and just a really nice, solid feeling grip. I like the changes that they've made. And of course, with the new interface that they put in the Sony system, it's a lot more intuitive than it was before in being able to select and customize the camera.
Yes, the menu system is much better than it once was, but I also noticed that even all the buttons and the dials seem to be that next sort of level of quality. They're improving, so it's a much nicer experience.
Now, with the Canon camera, though, I do find that some of the controls do seem to have a little bit more of that ease of use. It feels kind of more familiar to the old DSLR lineup, I think is probably what it comes down to, but Canon's always had such a fantastic interface.
I mean, it really shows the history of Canon. They show that they've been in this business for a long, long time.
Now, Dave, I know that with both these cameras, you're happy that we have a fully articulating screen. You have the option of doing the selfie thing, or you can also flip the screen all the way in to protect it if you're doing kind of more rugged shooting, because you know that's what we do. We're
well, it's nice to see. I mean,
rugged.
Canon's been doing it the proper articulating screen, I like to call it, for a long, long time. Sony's always had it sort of just in the back and flipped upright. And they finally got it right. So
they do, but I will have to say that I think you with the Canon have a bit of an advantage because you have a little bit more touch control while you're actually shooting. The Sony system has evolved in that you can touch the menu to select different functions, but when you're actually shooting, you're not able to change the settings on the fly. I also found that when we're in bright conditions, when we were shooting in the mountains on a snowy, sunny day, your screen was a little bit easier to see.
And I have a little bit higher resolution screen than you do as well. So it's about 25% more resolution. It does make a bit of a difference.
Another feature that I thought you had the win on initially was that your shutter can cover your sensor while you're changing lenses. But as it turns out, you just have to go into the menus on the Sony camera and you can actually program it to do the same thing.
Yeah, and I don't know why it took so long for companies to do that. It just seemed like a no-brainer for me. So I don't know why Sony took a little while to get to it, but it's a nice feature. If you're changing lenses out in anywhere, it's just a peace of mind.
Especially when kids are throwing snowballs at you. When we look at the electronic viewfinders, they're quite similar. So we both have 3.69 million dot resolution, and it is a pleasant experience. It looks pretty good. Again, when you're shooting in those sunny environments, it's absolutely critical to have a very good electronic viewfinder.
Yeah, and something that I'm quite happy they have on both of these cameras is resolution is one thing as far as the viewfinder goes, but the refresh rate I find is more important. If it's a very slow refresh rate, things just don't look natural in the viewfinder. So both these cameras have the ability to go up to 120 hertz, which gives you a much nicer, smoother look. So when you're panning left or right, or what have you, right, it's a much smoother experience.
Yeah, you do sacrifice a little bit of the battery life going into those higher frame rate modes for the electronic viewfinder, but in certain situations, it's worth it. Speaking of power, the Sony comes out with a CIPA rating of having almost double the amount of shots that you get on the Canon EOS R6.
But in the real world, I'm finding I'm not really having any complaints about the battery life I'm getting with this.
No, CIPA is always going to be incorrect in terms of what you're practically going to be able to get, but the point is the milliampage on this battery and just overall battery life is going to be a bit better of a performer than the Canon.
Yeah, and mirrorless cameras are a little more power hungry than their DSLR counterparts. However, I always carry a second battery with me anyways.
Yeah, easy problem to solve. It's not a deal breaker at all. Another place where I think the Sony A7 IV is a winner is with memory cards, Dave. So I have the option of 2 SD UHS 2 cards, or I also have one of those card slots is CF Express Type A compatible. So I have more options than you do, Dave.
So the Canon does have dual SD cards as well, both UHS 2 compatible card slots. However, I do concede a little bit there. The CF Express Type A card slot there, it's not just faster, it does open up some video functionality with this camera, you need that fast speed, but it's more so on the post-production side of things. If you are pressed for time, you're an event photographer or something like that, having the ability to transfer images to your computer much faster, it's kind of a nice option to have.
A big area where Dave and I had a hard time picking a winner on was autofocus and in-body image stabilization. So we went up to the ski hill just west of the city, and we were able to meet up with my niece and nephew, Riley and Olivia Hein. You got to watch out for these kids because I think they're going to be in the Olympics
Super
one
talented.
day. They're so good.
They scared me.
So much fun. But we went and were able to shoot kind of in more of an action, high-speed sport environment. What we wanted to do was be able to compare these and see what our hit rates were like. Now, in Dave's case of the Canon EOS R6, you do have a much faster frame per second rate.
Yeah, we're running at 20 frames per second with electronic shutter. If we go to mechanical, it's 12 frames a second. Both of those are faster than what you can shoot with yours. You're limited to 10 frames per second, which isn't bad.
No,
right?
I was quite happy, and I found that I had a very good hit rate. And again, with using face detection autofocus, you have the full width of the sensor, we're getting excellent performance. And so my hit rate was quite good. I didn't feel like I was missing shots necessarily, but it was a good experience, and I trusted and had good confidence in the camera to be able to get those fleeting moments when the kids are just whipping down the terrain park.
Yeah, they're on the rails just for a split second, it feels like. Yeah, and that's where I found having 20 frames per second, I used to think 20 frames a second was kind of ludicrous. Like, how many things do we actually need 20 frames a second of? It's nuts, right?
Yeah.
But I found when we were shooting that it was really nice to have just these tiny little difference in details, just a slightly different angle.
Yeah, so again, just to reiterate, I mean, although you do have faster frame per second rate, you're able to get more of those shots in those split seconds. I think the autofocus performance is very similar. I mean, it's able to pick up eyes from far away when your subject's tiny in the frame, and I would be confident with both these cameras being able to shoot pretty much any kind of action.
Yeah, you have to call it a draw when it comes to the autofocus. They're both fantastic. All right, Evelyn, there is something that I am kind of envious of with the A7 IV, and that is the resolution. The Canon R6 is a 20 megapixel sensor, and it's been kind of a tough sell for some people. They're like, we've been running 24 megapixel sensors for the longest time. Why are we taking a step back? Well, we're not really taking a step back. This is a fantastic 20 megapixel sensor with a very weak aliasing filter. So it actually resolves detail closer to a 30 megapixel sensor. However, you already have 3 more megapixels than that, period. So 33 megapixels does make a difference when you start punching in.
It's a significant difference, I would say, in terms of resolution and being able to have a little bit more cropping room. So when you are shooting somewhere where you have sort of loose scenery and you want to be able to get nice and tight, and especially for sports photography, being able to crop in a little bit tighter. And so it is a toss-up. You are getting the faster frame rate on the Canon EOS R6, but if you want a little bit more of that wiggle room for still images, then I think having the 33 megapixel sensor is the win here. We should mention though, Dave, that if you are someone that's shooting in a lot of low light situations, if you're shooting like hockey, theater, dance, anything where you don't have as much control over your lighting situation, you're shooting over 6400 ISO, then the Canon EOS R6 is going to perform a bit better in those scenarios.
Now, Evelyn, when it comes to the video on these two cameras, there's a lot of similarities. They both shoot 4K 60, although I have almost a full sensor readout. There's a tiny little crop.
Yeah, if I'm shooting 60p, then I'm going to have a Super 35 crop. But Dave, I think the Sony actually has a lot of compelling video features overall. I mean, one of the big ones is unlimited record time.
Yeah, if your videos last longer than 30 minutes, I can't recommend the R6 because it limits you to 29:59.
But another place where we have a bit of an edge with the Sony is actually with some new features. And so one of them is Sony's new focus breathing correction software that's built into the camera. It works with a lot of their G Master lenses, and basically it does provide a tiny little crop, but it corrects any of those focus breathing issues, especially at certain focal lengths that were notorious for it. So that's a nice feature to have that's just going to help you in your workflow. You don't have to do it in post.
Yeah, once you've seen focus breathing, you can't unsee it.
Yeah,
you'll see it everywhere. So
in movies and TV shows.
So it's very cool that they've incorporated that into this camera.
Yeah, another thing that I love about this, if you're someone that's doing content creation, if this camera is going to be used for doing things like live streaming, this is where you have a cool advantage. The Sony system now has a very easy plug and play. It will actually recognize the camera as a webcam if you're using Zoom or OBS, and it gives you just that ease of use that like anybody could do it. And I love that it has features like skin smoothing right built into the camera. And so it does make it an excellent live streaming tool if this is going to be like your hybrid multi-purpose camera.
Yeah, I mean, Canon, you certainly still can use it as a webcam through the EOS utility or through a capture card. However, the full-size HDMI and the functionality of the Sony certainly gives it the edge on that side. All right, Evelyn, we have both spent a lot of time with both of these cameras, both on our personal life and for the channel. Which one would you choose, given the option?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me this, Dave. It's a really hard choice. I mean, I've gotten so comfortable with the Canon EOS R6 system. It's a fun camera to use. It's easy. It's it just feels like a nice grab and go full frame camera. And having that manageable 20 megapixel file size is fantastic for just regular everyday life stuff. Now, where I see the A7 IV though from Sony being something that is tantalizing me is having more of those hybrid options, like being able to have a camera that you can just plug and play for doing live streaming, I think is super compelling. I also like having the extra resolution. So I know it seems counterintuitive, but just having a little bit of extra file flexibility, I think is a win here.
Yeah, you really need to think about what style of shooting am I doing. If I'm primarily shooting a lot of sports and action, I'm going to lean towards the R6. I want that extra frame rate. I'll give up some resolution. I'm okay with it. Right? Yeah. But I want that extra frame rate to capture those fleeting moments and have more selection.
But if you are truly shooting a little bit of everything and you want to have a solid video tool, then again, I think it goes back to the Sony A7 IV. It really depends on what are you shooting. And of course, that brings us to the question where we say, we want to know what you guys think. Which camera is more compelling for your type of photography? Let us know what you do. Share your links, share your Insta. We love seeing what you guys do.
Yeah, what's the most compelling feature on both these cameras for you? What's going to drive you from one camera to the other? Or is there something that you wish they both had?
Absolutely. Let us know in the comments below, you guys.
Follow us both on Instagram.
And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so we can catch you again very soon.
Hey, thanks for joining us on this episode. If you want to check out our more recent content, click up here. And if you're a Canadian, you want to shop local, check out thecamerastore.com down here.